So, one other thing we were going to talk about, actually, we've been discussing Vilap Kusumanjali. I want to talk about the 13th verse. We're doing like a course for some devotees who are studying and memorizing the verses of Vilap Kusumanjali. Prabhuji himself every day is reciting the verses of Vilap Kusumanjali. So the 13th verse is very beautiful. It starts, Sasa kabrid abhisare netra bringa chalabhyam. That Raghunatha Goswami is praying to Srimati Radhika. Sasa kabrid abhisare netra bringa chalabhyam. Oh Srimati Radhika, when you are going to the forest to see Sri Krishna, at that time your eyes are moving back and forth very restlessly, as if they are bumblebees searching for something. What are they searching for? It is said Srimati Radhika's eyes, as she is wandering into the forest, are like bumblebees, and they are moving very quickly back and forth, searching for the blue lotus of Sri Shyam Sundar. So Raghunatha Goswami prays at that time, when Srimati Radhika is entering the forest on a full moon night, searching for Krishna here and there, may her eyes fall upon me, her kinkari, and in that way I will receive her glance of mercy. Kripa kataksha bhajanam. So in our Gaudiya line, our acharyas pray to have this kind of relationship with Srimati Radhika. That in Kartik and other times we always pray with this song, Kripa kataksha bhajanam. This is our ultimate udeshya goal. But at what time do we want to receive Radhika's Kripa Kataksha? When do we want to receive her glance of mercy? At that time when it said, there's one other story of Shiva. One person was worshipping Shiva, and he was very poor and blind. He was a poor man, he had no money, he was blind, he had no wife, no kid, no family. So he prayed to Shiva and worshipped him for a very long time. And finally Shiva became pleased and said, I'll grant you a boon. So he said, Oh Shiva, I want that with my own eyes I will feed my grandson. He was also lame and crippled. So he was blind, lame, crippled, no money, no family, no house, nothing. So he said, Shiva said, I'll give you one boon. So what did he ask for? He said, with my own hands and with my own eyes, I want to feed my grandson on a gold plate with a gold spoon. So Prabhuji says, in one request, he got everything he wanted. He had no money, so if he was going to feed his grandson with a gold plate, must mean he's very rich. So he had a very beautiful house, very beautiful table. If he has a grandson, it means he has a wife. And not only that, but his wife had a son. And then his son had a son, so he has a successful family life now. And he can see, and he can move his hands. So in one boon, he got everything. So we pray to Srimati Radhika, May I get your glance of mercy. But at that time, when you are on the way to the forest to meet with Sri Krishna, and who is there with Srimati Radhika when she's going to the forest? Only the other manjaris are present at that time. No other sakhis, no sakas are present. So if we are there receiving Radhika's glance of mercy, when she is on her way to the forest to meet with Krishna in the full moon night, then that means certainly we'll have to receive that mercy of being her kinkari. So Raghunatha Goswami prays like that. Oh Srimati Radhika, please accept me as your maidservant and give me this position. The next verse is tied along with that kind of mood also. So in this verse there's a few important points. One is that this is describing the full moon night. So it's described that Raghunatha Goswami is praying as Srimati Radhika's manjari, kinkari maidservant, to be able to, Gurudev describes how he desires to serve Srimati Radhika when she goes to the forest. He says, he prays that when Radhika goes to the forest, it's a full moon night. On the full moon night, first the manjaris and sakhis will go and dress Srimati Radhika in white cloth, so that when Radhika will leave into the forest, she'll be hidden and not be able to be seen by Jatila Kutila and those who are watching her. It said that Krishna, when he comes back from the forest, Mother Yashoda, if we read the Astakali Lila, when Krishna comes back from the forest, the Mother Yashoda performs his arati. This is when you wake Thakurji up and give them fruits. And then Yugal Arati is afterwards, Gaur Arati is afterwards. So Krishna, at that time, he comes home Mother Yashoda will clean him from the dust from the forest, and she'll feed him something. Then after that, Krishna and the Sakas and Nanda, they all go to an arena where they watch different magical performances. They get to watch like dramas and things like that. Then afterwards, Krishna comes to his room and they have dinner together. Then Krishna will go to his bedroom. Mother Yashoda will sing him some lullaby or tell him some bedtime story. After that, Krishna quickly closes his eyes and pretends to fall asleep. And so Mother Yashoda tiptoes out of the room. And then in 1 minute, 2 minutes, Krishna will sneak out the back door and leave to the forest. So Krishna doesn't have to wear white or dark colors because Nanda and Yashoda never have doubt in him. Nanda and Yashoda don't have doubt that Krishna is going off to meet the gopis because they think he is just our small baby Gopal. So for Krishna it's easy to go meet with Radhika. However, for the Sakas, for Srimati Radhika, it's very difficult. So Srimati Radhika, she has to dress in such a way that no one will be able to see her because Jatila and Kutila, they're always staying up and taking turns to make sure that Radhika doesn't escape into the forest. But at the same time, they're not allowed into Radhika's room, so she's able to stay in her room like that. She's able to prepare to go to the forest in her room. So at that time, the Manjaris and the Sakis dressed Srimati Radhika in completely white cloth in the full moon night. And Rati Manjari, Rupa Manjari, Raghunath prays, let me be there to bind your ankles so that your ankle bells do not make any noise. Let me bind your waist, bind your necklaces. And then Srimati Radhika will sneak out also. And because she's in that white cloth, she cannot be seen. That even if they look towards her direction, it just looks like she's some reflection of the moonlight. So in that way, on the full moon night, she's able to sneak into the forest. So Raghunath is praying, let me serve you at that time. On the full moon night, as you are dressed in white and going to the forest to meet with Krishna, let me serve you at that time. And it said then on Amavasya nights, then Radhika dresses completely in black or very dark colors, and so she can easily sneak out into the forest. It said as she goes to meet with Krishna in the forest, at that time she's looking in all directions, thinking, where is Shamsundar, where is Shamsundar? Even though she's very greedy to meet with Krishna, she's also somewhat fearful. It said in this verse, Bayanod Gurnitam. She's looking somewhat fearfully because many different moods at that time appear in Radhika's heart. It's called Kila Kinchit Bhav. Gurudev describes that Kila Kinchit Bhav means at one time many different emotions are coming in the heart of Radhika. So when she comes close to the Kunj, she's at that time only with a few manjaris. As she comes close, then Krishna will be waiting by the Kunj. And he'll be thinking, now let me take Radhika inside. But Radhika at that time then turns to go back home. This is called Kila Kinchit Bhav. It said at one moment she will be biting her lip and in her heart thinking she desires to meet with Krishna. But externally she will turn to go. And then Krishna has to fall at her feet and beg, please come. So the Manjaris are praying at that time to serve her in this Leela. So we remember Raghunath Das Goswami and pray that these moods may enter our heart. Even if we don't have this desire, this is the wealth of our Gaudiya line. We remember our Vaishnavacharyas, we remember Srila Gurudev, and we pray to them for their mercy that we can somehow enter into these moods. Gaur Premanandi.